Corner, and our next guest is here to talk about the importance of setting rules for your kids about Halloween. So please welcome back Dr. G. Hi, Dr. G.
Hello.
Glad to have you back again.
Thank you so much.
I love your practical parenting advice, but you know what? I got to be honest. I never really thought about applying rules for Halloween. I mean, that's supposed to be kind of like just a night of fun. Why do you think we need rules?
So we really do make rules, right? Where you're headed out and you think, oh, it's dark, you have to hold my hand, or don't run ahead, right? We set up the rules as we go.
Yeah.
But if we think about Halloween as an opportunity to urge our kids to build on something we want them to improve on, then they will, because they're highly motivated, because they love Halloween.
Oh, so it's almost like tricking them.
Sort of.
Get it?
But they get treats too. They get treats too.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. But no, you're saying that you can really teach them a lot about respect, which is the last time you were here, you were talking about your 3 books, which I love, that are the size of an iPhone, that teach respect and responsibility.
Well, for example, if you have a shy child, this is probably the one night a year that they will talk to strangers voluntarily.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
They will talk to adults they do not know to get that candy.
Sure.
So if that's the case, if this is such a strong motivator that it would get a shy child over that shyness for a little while, we can teach kids the respect and the responsibility we want them to have so that they can have more of the independence they want on Halloween.
So how does that dialogue go if you're teaching? You have 4 boys under 12, right?
4 boys, yes.
So how do you have this conversation at home?
Some of it is the prep, like costumes, right? Has Zoe decided what she wants to be yet?
You know, I told them what they were going to be, because we learned here on the show. We had a great costume segment on the show, and I want them to be minions, and they agreed, surprisingly.
Oh, that's excellent. Right? But so a mom talked to me whose her daughter, her 8-year-old, wanted to dress up like Miley Cyrus.
Ooh, okay.
Right? And so that's a conversation about respecting yourself, about the mom respecting her daughter's interests, but also teaching her the self-respect. And the suggestion I had was, if you're not going to just say, no, you may not emulate that person, that you might say, okay, you may dress like an 8-year-old Miley Cyrus, but you may not dress like a 20-year-old Miley Cyrus. That's not appropriate.
Right. So she's got to go back to the Hannah Montana days.
Exactly. And then she's welcome to dress like her, right? That would be cute. There's no problem there. So we want to respect our kids' interests, but we want to teach them self-respect and those kind of things.
Okay. And what about reverse trick-or-treating? We talked about that as well.
We did. So since kids love wearing those costumes, and you mentioned, right, you've already put some money and time into those costumes, and 2 hours does not seem like enough bang for your buck. Take your children that afternoon or the weekend before to a senior center or a veteran center and give them the chance to hand out some treats, show off their costumes, and just gather up those smiles and see how much just their joy and their existence can make people happy.
Right, because you've turned something fun into them, but as a giving back moment.
You can give back that way. You can give back also by collecting some of your candy for troops overseas. There are some great programs to send non-melting candy to troops overseas. You know, some of the people who are serving our country, they were trick-or-treating just a year or 2 ago.
That's a good point. And that's a point that I think we forget about.
At Halloween.
Absolutely.
This doesn't happen in other countries, you know, and so this is a nice way to teach our kids to think about others while they're gathering up as much loot as they can.
What about the rules for that tween or that teenager who still feels like they can trick-or-treat?
Well, sometimes they can, totally appropriately, but, you know, with a tween, what I worry about, does Zoe want to trick-or-treat by herself with her friends?
You know what? She brought it up the other day.
Right? First time?
Yes.
And so we can, as parents, no, you just may not. But is it a chance to build a little resilience and some responsibility?
Oh, I don't know.
She might not be ready, but here's how you decide. You think, what am I worried about? And then you come up with maybe the 3 scenarios you think might actually happen. She's not going to get abducted by aliens. So what you think might actually happen that you're worried about, and you say to her, well, genuinely, what if you did and you got separated from your friends? What would you do? Or what if someone you didn't know invited you in to get the treat?
Sure.
Right? And if she has good, responsible answers to those questions, then you might say, you know what? For the first half an hour of trick-or-treating, you may, if you text me every 10 minutes or so. Right? Not the whole time, but a little comfort for me and a little independence for you. And you say, and if you don't, your little brother and I are going to come up and get you from your friends. She will text you every 3rd house. Like, don't you show up with me? You know? So there are ways to build independence. Teens want to go to parties.
Yes.
And Halloween parties can get a little out of hand. You can use the same what-if game to build some resilience and responsibility, see if they're ready.
Sure.
But another thing you can do is say, no, I'm counting on you. Actually, you get to be home alone handing out candy. Or you can invite your friends to our house. You find ways to let them have some of the independence they want.
I like that one better.
And say, and you know that other thing you've been asking me for to do over the break or something? I'm going to be watching your behavior on Halloween to see if you're responsible enough to earn that privilege.
All right. Those are some very practical rules and tips. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do about it after the break. More with Dr. G coming up in just a second.